got junior high wrestling here tonight.
Yep. Gate about 5:15. That's about recognition of excellence-ish. Maybe a little after that. 45? I'm sorry, 5:45.
Okay. I was like, well, it's
5:15
5:30. That's why I was like, well, it's 5:30 now.
5:45. Yes.
Yeah, if that works. If we get ahead, I don't. We will, but if we get ahead, we can jump to something. And back
Yeah,
to
or
something.
worst case scenario, I can read it and he can cover a different week if he wants.
That's cool.
Hi, Jenny.
You can hold the, there's junior high wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's 5:30. You want to get started on these? or-
Give me 1 second. Yes. Let's see streaming, but I'm gonna double check. Never mind, it's working.
Okay.
So we'll just do the calendar one first.
All right. All right, it's 5:30, so I'll call the first public hearing on the proposed 26-27 district calendar meeting to order. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed.
I don't believe anyone signed up. Is anyone here to do public comment on the proposed calendar for next year?
Nope.
And these, I told Jamie this at the beginning, we'll have 3 public hearings. It's the opportunity for the public to comment on it, and then during the actual board meeting, we vote, and you guys can ask questions. But this would be if the public wanted to comment, now's their time. So,
All right, so hearing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, so moving second to adjourn the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, it is 5:31, so we could go to the next one.
you can do the amended budget.
Okay, so we'll call a public hearing on the fiscal year 2026 amended budget to order. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
A second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to open the public hearing on the fiscal year 2026 amended budget. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, motion passes.
And I'm assuming no one's here to comment on the amended budget either? All right.
All right, hearing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. And we have one more left. And I'll call the meeting of the public hearing proposed plant specifications on the ERV replacement. Have a motion to approve the agenda. Second?
Second.
All right, so it's moved and seconded to call the public hearing of the plan specifications of the ERV replacement hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Can I ask you guys to speak up a little louder with all that noise? It's really hard to hear anything that you're saying.
You want to come up here and sit in the corner?
Maybe we'll have to.
Maybe I'll have to.
Can we move closer?
Yeah, why don't you guys move up here?
That's okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Like,
Can't.
They can.
Yeah.
Public meeting.
Can you open that one?
doesn't matter.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
But is the hallway door open? No, then we
Oh,
can't.
okay. It's okay.
Thank
Just
you.
stop.
Not a good thought.
Yeah. So we adjourned on that.
I know you're 3 minutes late. You miss a lot. I had to
The
park,
three of these public hearings.
I had to park at the elementary school.
Yeah.
Then I had to stop for hot chocolate on the way, you know, to warm up after the walk.
Okay, so it's past 5:33, so we can call the regular board meeting to order. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Again, all right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion passes. All right, so guess we approved the agenda, right? Yep. All right, so now the 5 school board basics. Put students first.
Follow the law and your own policy.
Respect the chain of command.
Base decisions on shared objective information.
Operate in the public eye.
All right. Now I'll read the Sibley Cheatham mission statement. At Sibley Cheatham Schools, we build partnerships to challenge minds, to invest in community, and to embrace life. All right, next is Visitors Public Forum. I don't know if anybody's filled anything out. Okay, moving on to the consent items.
Kendra, did you have any?
No, there was a sheet of bills that was just pretty normal bills, additional bills. For the bills and then the retirement.
The thing that I wanted to draw attention to, we don't, but if you go to the, or I have it up on the screen, the resignations, early retirements, we did have 3 staff members, a little bittersweet here, that turned in paperwork, for early retirement. So Daryl Tucci with middle school science, Brenda Tucci that in the elementary, because by them filling out the paperwork in the office, that is what the requirement is, and some of that's confidential, right? But Daryl and Brenda did turn in a letter that I just wanted to read. It says, Dear SO School Board, this document is to inform you of our decision to take the early retirement package offered by the school board in November. This letter serves as our resignation from teaching at Sibley Cheatham Community School District, effective at the end of the 25-26 school year. Our retirement comes with mixed emotions. Although we're looking forward to our retirement, it is still a difficult decision to end our employment as educators in the district. We're extremely thankful for the opportunities and memories that our years at Sibley Cheatham have provided us. It has been a privilege to serve our community and the students, parents, and administrators within it. Our plan is to continue to stay in Sibley and support the generals and our community in any way that we can. We wish Sibley Cheatham the best in the future. Sincerely, and then signed by Brenda and Daryl. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and thank all 3 for their years of service to our district. Other than that, I didn't have anything to add unless you guys had any questions on the consent, on the consent agenda.
Any other questions? All right, if not, I'll take a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the consent agendas.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda items. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes, or unanimously. All right, moving to administrative reports.
I won't read verbatim. Mr. DeZale, Kent DeZale, is running the junior high wrestling meet that we're doing tonight, kind of taking the role that I used to do. It's been snowed up the last 2 years, so I told him to stay there and put what was on here. And you can kind of read through that. The one thing that he did want to say, I thought he had it written in here, but he said they are taking steps to move forward with the math curriculum. He said they're down to 2 main ones with their staff, and then they've been making some trips to other schools that have these curriculums in place. So he just wanted me to add that. That's kind of where they're at with things right now. I know of a couple trips with different members of the people on the math team that have gone just to see that in place in action. So that was the one thing he wanted me to add. Oh, and he says it right at the end of PD, my bad, right there. We have narrowed our choice down to 1 of 2 options and are making visits to schools that have successfully implemented them to help our staff make an informed decision. So that's all I got.
Okay, any questions on that? All right, Mr. Hertz.
Yeah, quite a bit in there, just lots going on at the start of a semester, but I think things are off to a good start. We're 2 weeks into our implementation of Minga, and that's going well. Students seem kind of unfazed by it, and staff have picked it up quickly. And so I think today when I checked, something just under 200 passes, issued. Or I'm sorry, that was just one category, like 1,100 passes for the whole day, 5 through 12. So it's used pretty regularly now, and staff seem to be in the groove of using it. So far, so good. A lot of time, and Mr. Zayo's been in some of these meetings, so we're ESSA targeted, so we have some things that we're doing there with the middle school team and our MTSS processes. And then we also have IDEA level 2, which is more related to special education. So there's some things we're working on there, and just reports, and then different plans to implement. And so we're in the planning process of both of those. And so far that's going well. Got some meetings with some AEA representatives coming up this week and next week to work on that. Next board meeting, I'll present our district career and academic plan. Every year I have to present just updates to the board on that. So that's how we are preparing students for life after school. So that'll be next month. I'll present that. iReady and FastBridge testing in the middle school is going well. They're just finishing up our mid-year testing there, and so far things look pretty good, but we'll have a better idea of our growth, our performance once all the students have completed, and then that determines who gets intervention going forward for next semester for math and reading. So we use that data to identify those kids. I did meet with all of our boys 9 through 12 in small groups just to address behaviors and go over expectations. 110 kids in 3 days in small groups. Took some time, but I think good conversations, and was worth that. And then sent a follow-up letter to parents just concerning the locker room issues, and feel like behavior's been addressed and we're moving forward. For professional development, I'm meeting with each staff member individually to go over their goals for the school year. Really enjoy that time just to get to check in with staff. And then this time around, I'm also asking just feedback on Minga as I get to sit down with each staff member, and so far it's been positive feedback there. Activities, definitely a busy time of year, lots of home events this week, and it's just how January is. Large group speech contests are coming up. Jazz band and jazz choir practices are underway. So just kids that are involved in a lot of things are very busy right now, and that's great to see. Conferences are coming up for high school, middle school. We have that early date on February 9th, and then March 10th is our second date. Mrs. Ruggles does plan to do some FAFSA and college finance, college planning meetings on for sure February 9th and potentially March 10th if there's interest those nights as well. So, staff attendance and professional development attendance is at the bottom there. So, any questions?
On the locker room,
Yep.
I know we opened back up for gym this week, right?
Yep. PE.
But outside of like weight room stuff and other extras, they need a coach or whatever in there, correct?
Yep.
Is there, I know a lot of parents voice concerns just walking about. Is
Sure.
there, do we look at changing that, or are we going to keep that way through the end of the year and then?
Yeah, good question. And I've had a couple reach out, similar concerns. So we're, I would say, unique as a district that we allowed so much locker room access unsupervised. And that was a product of our weight room is a public weight room and it didn't have its own bathroom. So then card swipes were put in, and then a public or anybody with a weight room card could get access to the locker rooms. And that, we just operated with that, public and students having access, and that's how we move forward. We do have a bathroom in the weight room now, so we no longer have that access to the public. So I think it makes sense for us to transition to not having students in there outside of supervised events, team lifting, practices, games, those kinds of things. That is a change for us, but for the most part, that is pretty typical operation school-wise. Yeah, does that answer the question?
But they don't have a shower or anything, so they go home like it only has a bathroom.
Right, it's
Okay.
just a bathroom in
Yep.
the weight room, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I just know I just wanted to talk.
Yeah, it's definitely a change from what we've done, and kids have had that. I would say, luxury of just they can go into the weight room, swipe in locker room, swipe in anytime. But on the school side of things, we've also then taken on that liability of people can be in there at any time, and now we have an opportunity to change that, and I think that's probably the right choice.
So locker room, boys and girls?
Yeah, for now we've made that change for boys. The locker room for the girls, the new locker room is not utilized often. So the key swipes there are changed. They can't swipe in there. Supervision's more difficult there for high school, especially with the morning weights, because we have male staff running morning weights. We don't have any female staff. So if it's opened and female students can go into the locker room, but there's no supervision in there. So those are some of the dynamics we'll have to figure out as we go through, this change. There may be less supervision in the girls just because we have less female staff.
What time does school start?
8:10 is the bell to be in class. Yep.
What time is staff required to be here?
8 o'clock.
Is this just high school locker room or middle school too? Because I know the one email had middle school / high school in it.
Yeah, so in the
I
mornings,
just think some consistency for all locker rooms, boys and girls, should be implemented.
right. So middle school is similar to what is happening with the boys a lot, unless there's somebody in there to supervise. For sports after school, and they do practice once a week, typically in the morning. So same thing there. Coach has got to be last one out, lock the door behind them, and then our PE teacher unlocks doors when he has his first PE class. Same issue there though, male PE teacher, so just less supervision in the girls' locker room. But yep, middle school is consistent with the boys' side of things. Yep. Did I get to what you were asking about, Arthur?
Well, I think what a lot of, so you got kids coming to school to lift weights, right?
and just, yeah, is there, I don't think it needs to be open at 6, but would there be an opportunity that they could shower at 7:45, you know, get ready, get to class? You know, it just was a thought, if staff is required to be here at 7:30, could somebody go, you know,
Staff it.
open the locker room for them that they wouldn't have to get back on the road, or, you know, not all of our students live in Sibley,
Yep.
right? So, just thinking big picture, is there an opportunity that we could at least give them some window? I'm not saying it's gotta be open all the time, but is there, when you're working on the future, is there an opportunity we can have it open?
Yep. So it is staffed 3 days a week for our strength and conditioning.
Okay,
So Jake Klein Hessling does that Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So he's here and does open the locker rooms, and then kids have, if they
Okay.
come to work out, they have access to it during those times. And then I know football and other sports, when they have team activities, then coaches are here.
yep,
So it would be the cases where students come in either like on their own or maybe with a friend to work out, and there isn't staff here to supervise, then they wouldn't have that
opportunity.
access. Yep.
Okay.
Good questions.
Anything else for Casey? All right, well, thank you.
Yep.
All right, the superintendent report from Mr. DeZeo.
I just kind of put a highlight, like we've discussed, on some of the things that I've been going through with the district. I won't read it verbatim, and some of the things Casey mentioned, because some of the things we've had to been working on together a lot of times with the IDA, DA designations and other things, and like planning for programs and curriculum for next year. Some of the stuff we'll cover next year, but just trying to highlight. Starting talking about finances and negotiations and costing for next year. It's taking up a lot of time. Started on the budget, and we did that, our initial workshop on that this past week, and we'll be hitting that hard here again as we move forward, and then discussions with different groups and planning on the voted PEPL vote on March 3rd and what that will look like and plans for that. So I'll just leave it at that for now.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. DeZeo? All right. Board committees, policy, finance, facilities.
Finance, we met on the 29th, really just to kind of front the where we're at financially and some of the things that we've already talked about in our board meetings and getting ready as we start on contracts and negotiations for next year. So that's really what we met about there. I don't know if there's anything else you guys wanted to add. That's really what we talked about, right? Facilities, we have not met. I'm still working on that to meet, trying to come up with a guideline and maybe on some priorities and look at things that we have and talk with the facilities committee on maybe getting some of their input on some of our projects and priorities of some of the potential things we could work on, and some of that's in flux depending on what happens on March 3rd with the voted PEPL vote, but we'll just move forward with a positive attitude there. Policy, we did not meet, although I did add what was approved in the consent items. I emailed them at the end of last week, but it was really some clerical and updating things for my ISB, so there hasn't been anything new with them. That's all I got.
All right. Recognition of excellence.
Tate Marco, one of our student council members for the senior class, is here to read the recognition of excellence.
Do you know everyone here?
Yeah, mostly.
I don't know.
Few. All right, middle school band, 6th grade band students have been selected for the Northwest Iowa Strong Foundation 6th grade honor band concert at 6 p.m. at Bishop Heelan High School in Sioux City, Iowa. Leo Herrera, clarinet, Matthew Clausen, flute, Juan Manzo Talio, trombone, and Landon Herrera, tuba. High school band, high school honor bands. Lindy Tracy, sophomore, auditioned for and was accepted to the Northwest Iowa Bandmasters Association Junior High Honor Band. She performed in Sioux City at Boline Auditorium on Saturday, January 10th. Riley Child, Genesis Hernandez, and Lindy Tracy, sophomores, were selected to perform in the 50th anniversary Iowa State University Honor Band. They will perform in Ames on Saturday, February 7th. Seniors Elizabeth Palmer, Tristan Voss, and junior Presley Henning were selected to perform in the Morningside University Honor Band. They will perform on February 14th in Sioux City at Eppeline Auditorium. Sophomores Roland Ruschi, Genesis Hernandez, Cara Schaefer, Shyla Stafford, and Maria Martinez were selected to be part of the Dordt University Honor Band. They will perform in Sioux City at J.B. Hand Auditorium on February 14th. December Generals of the Week. On the 5th, elementary, Analia Ramirez Niz. Elementary and the middle school, Maya Kruger. High school, Asen Peter and staff, Miss Destine Martin. 12th, elementary, Nora Hightrader. Middle school, Grace Extra. And then high school, Tyler Marco, staff, Stan Zao. 19th, elementary, Norlee Nicholas. Middle school, Gavin Block. High school, Draven Phillip, staff, Janelle Jensen. And that's it.
Thank you.
Yep. So, yep.
All right, so moving on to discussion items. Literacy goals, presentations, social sciences.
So Mr. Wiersma's the curriculum team leader there, so Mr. Wiersma, come on up front.
I'm going to stand up over here.
Wherever you want, Ryan.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, I'll introduce myself. We have some new board members this year. I am Ryan Wiersma. I teach 7th and 8th grade social studies and a section of pre-algebra to the 7th graders. You can see right there the 7th grade is contemporary global studies, 8th grade is the first half of U.S. history. One good thing about doing this every year is it keeps track of how many years I've been teaching, because I never know. I've been asked a lot this year for some reason. So 18th year, 17th year at SO, 9th year being the social studies curriculum leader. I also do some coaching, mentor teacher, and I have a student teacher this semester as well. And I graduated here in 2003. Okay, our agenda or our objectives for the presentation today. I'll go through their social studies teachers and the members of our curriculum team. I'll go through a couple changes for social studies with the state, including the civics graduation test and updated detailed social studies standards, and some courses that we're moving around for, setting us up for the future. And then I'll talk just about a few things that we focus on in social studies if I have time, and then I'd love to take questions at the end. So that's what we're going to go for today. Okay, so our social studies curriculum team, Scott Ruckles and Rebecca Fink are our high school teachers. And then this is a new change, in 5th and 6th grade, we do not have a dedicated just social studies teacher, so they're not actually on our team. But Ms. Fernandez and Jean Nag teach social studies to 5th and 6th grade respectively, but they are on the language arts team, I believe.
And science for Rose.
Okay, yep, so they just they've picked up social studies when we kind of did some changing and reducing. And then we have a couple elementary teachers who are also on the social studies curriculum team, but I don't meet with them super often, just kind of there to support them in anything that they might need. So that is our social studies curriculum team. Okay, so a couple new things this year, and Mr. Hertz might know a little bit more than I do, but I know a little bit about this, is coming up soon. Students must pass what I call a civics test. Civics is government and society and things like that in order to graduate. And so last time I had a conversation with Mr. Hertz about this, and Mr. Ruggles, because he's kind of the upper social studies teacher, is you have to pass it. It will be similar to the civics test that's taken when you're applying for citizenship. All right, and that is something that you can find online and go through. It's my understanding that it can be taken many times over various points in high school, and a few schools are piloting sample tests. I don't know, we received that email about it, but we were not chosen So, but just based on what I've heard and then the civics test that they use to become a citizen, I feel very confident that we cover those topics and objectives in our curriculum. I feel very good about that. We work very hard on, in 8th grade, what I teach, the basics of the Constitution and civics and things like that, knowing that then they will have that again when they are seniors for their government class. So I feel very good about it, and then once we get more information, we can make changes and adjustments. But I feel like that should not be a huge problem, I don't think. Then we'll address it as we need to. So, any questions about that, or anything I left out, Mr. Hertz, for that?
That will probably result in a change to our graduation requirement
Okay.
policy, just to be in compliance with what the state requires. You know,
And there are a few other states that do that, and so I've kind of learned a little bit from that. Mr. Ruggles has talked about that, so, but feel good about that. So, okay, next one.
I'll ask it at the end.
Okay. So this I found out yesterday. It just came across that the state has updated our social studies standards, and so the date of that published was Thursday, and it just came across. I saw it through my email yesterday as I was preparing for this. So they are not, I would not call them like new, as in they threw out the old ones and rewrote new ones. I would classify them as more detailed, specific. So that was a huge concern that I had when I believe the new ones came out in 2017. So, and then that did require some changes, especially for what I taught. But they were very broad. So here's one that I grabbed from 7th grade from the old ones, and it said, analyze connections among historical events and developments in contemporary global issues. That was the standard. Well, that could be 100 different things I could teach about to meet that standard. So the goal of it was to give, local control, give teachers choices, but that can be kind of overwhelming and intimidating. But actually, as I got through and created the 7th grade, because especially for 7th grade, we have no textbook or anything like that. Once I got through it and taught it, I actually really enjoyed having that freedom and that. So that wasn't so bad, because there's all kinds of different things. Literally right now in 7th grade, we're talking about the Arab, Israeli, Palestine whole thing going on, and those past historical events have a huge development in contemporary global issues and stuff. So that's just one way. But these new ones now are much more detailed and specific. So there's a link if you want to check them out. It's 220 pages long, so I haven't gone through the whole thing yet. I've mainly just read the 7th grade ones, because those are the ones I was most interested and concerned about. But I'll go through all of them, and then they've got different pathways for high school and how to handle all that and stuff. So I plan on working on that. That'll be a focus for our team and our social studies teachers the rest of this year. We do have a little bit of time to make sure that we're aligned, and it's not like they just put them out and we have to have it ready for next year. We do have some time. So I'm hopeful. I haven't looked too much at the elementary ones, but I'm hopeful that will give some more guidance, especially the elementary teachers who have not, like my focus was history and social studies in college, but in elementary, they kind of cover all that. So I'm hopeful that will help them out a little bit more, give them more specific, detailed. But as far as I think 8th grade on up, very little will change. And I will have to make a few adjustments, I think, with my 7th grade curriculum, but that was kind of already I was thinking about anyway. It's a little more geography based, those kind of things, but we kind of do some of that anyways. So 7th grade is much more unit based. We cover topics and units, and then 8th grade is your standard chronological. We go with the timeline. But that will be something that we will be working on the rest of this year in preparation to make sure that we're hitting all of them. But again, the big thing I want to stress is they're being more detailed and specific to kind of give some teachers some guidance. So, any questions on those things? Okay, so we are in year 2 of this switching U.S. history from 11th grade to 9th grade, and there was some, it took a 2-year cycle because we had that 10th grade class in there. So after this year, next year, this will kind of be the order. So 7th grade is contemporary global studies, but But then the big thing is now that we have U.S. history in order. So they'll have the first half in 8th grade, the second half in 9th grade, 10th grade world history, and then they can, 11th grade, they can get their electives, or if they have time in any other. And then, of course, U.S. government in 12th grade. And so this was just to make it kind of more seamless, align. I know in other curriculum areas, we've reduced some teachers in 8th grade or high school and middle school are sharing. And so if that would happen, we're kind of more aligned and that transition should be a little more seamless. If, you know, somebody like me has to teach higher up or somebody has to teach lower, this would just make more sense, a little bit more smooth, so we can cover all of those things. All right. And then again, we started this last year. 5th and 6th grade is covered by different teachers. So, and again, if that would change, then this just seemed to make more sense, and it was a 2-year transition. And so, if changes happen, if we lose teachers, this should work. So, and then some, I know we're getting more into that. Then some of your upper level electives could then maybe be taken as college classes, dual credit, that kind of stuff. Maybe your sociology, psychology, and we can kind of cover the basics of what we need to here. So that's kind of, and I think that's going good and should be good to go for next year. So next slide. Okay, so again, this slide is pretty similar to last year. Just overall, some challenges that we have as social studies teachers is it's not a tested subject on ISAPS, and it's not like yearly progress monitoring like the iReady test, right? So sometimes, you know, that's the common joke among all the other teachers about social studies teachers is, you know, we don't have tests, it's not tested, nobody cares, just watch the movies and we'll be good to go. This one, again, we don't necessarily, hopefully won't have to worry about this anymore, that the K-State standards were broad or vague. So these updated ones should help with that. So that will present a challenge in that we have to go through and make sure we're hitting everything. But at least we don't have the uncertainty if we're doing what we're supposed to. And then this one is something that I'm really trying to work hard, and that is accuracy. And when it comes to current events or what we find on the internet, or now that we're using AI, you know, because some AI will just take information from the internet to build their answer. Well, if they're not taking correct information, then they're not building correct answers. So, and you know, current events, obviously, we talk a lot about things can be interpreted differently. And so that is something that I think I want to really work on, and you know, and as we get into the high school and things like that, when this age group, they're starting to form their own opinions, that they have accurate information and then form their opinion. I talk about that all the time. This is what it is. This is the truth. This is what it says in the Constitution. This is how our government works. This is the goal. You decide, right? For example, one thing we talk about all the time, if you want the government to do more, it's going to need more money, so it's going to tax more. If you want the government to do less, it will need less money and it can tax less. All right, you need to decide what you want the government to do. Make your own opinion and then go from that. So it's just that kind of things that we talk about. And then, I mean, current events, there's just so much going on. It's, in one sense, it's really fun as a teacher to tie this stuff in, things that we talk about come up in the news all the time. I mean, you know, when you first, 7th grade, we're in our world religion and conflict unit, and we're learning about, like, you know, the Arab-Israeli conflict in Palestine and Israel and Gaza and all that kind of stuff. And then I just read a news story of a linebacker for the Texans who got fined because he had a message about that written on his eye black, right? And so, and I can bring that in and say, well, yeah, this is what he's talking about, and do you guys know about this? And yep, I know what you know, all that kind of stuff. And he was claiming it was a genocide, and then I also teach genocide, so we could talk about, is this a genocide? Is it war? What is it? So it provides a lot of opportunities, but it's a lot to go through sometimes, and if it's accurate and things like that. But especially my 7th and 8th graders, they're all super interested in that kind of stuff. And if we're gonna be pirates and take over Greenland and all kinds of stuff. And it provides a lot of fun and good discussions. Yeah. So, okay, next one. So again, as social studies teachers and as the leader, and this is what I tried to do in my room, and then get other teachers to do that, is just kind of how we go about social studies. We want to make sure we're teaching our curriculum and standards effectively, right? That's our number one thing. That's how we decide what to teach. But then because we're not a tested subject, and especially I feel very strongly about this, is I want to supplement other core areas, right? I really, really believe that. So we spend a lot of time working on our writing skills in social studies to try to supplement that area. 7th grade, I've incorporated a novel unit. So to kind of, we're always reading and stuff like that, but I really try to supplement the other core areas. And then we're also doing a lot of creating. We're reading graphs. We're interpreting political cartoons and propaganda. I feel very confident if you ask any 7th or 8th grader who I've taught, they'll know what propaganda is. I try really hard to get them to understand that and what's happening to them and how I use it to get what I want done too. So we want to learn social studies and our topics and things like that, but I try really hard to supplement the other core areas. Problem solving and creating and interpreting, those kind of things. And then I think I already talked about current events there, but that has provided a great opportunity. I want them to be productive, knowledgeable citizens. I always make the joke that if you're going to be posting stuff on Facebook, try to make it accurate, right? I don't want people to think back and say, "No, who was that guy's social studies teacher?" So I said, don't embarrass me as your teacher, all right? But again, it's a challenge, but it provides for so many discussions and things like that. So, okay, that was my kind of little spiel there. I hope I didn't talk too fast, but trying to keep it to the moment. Do you guys have any questions for me about anything this or anything else?
So I've never talked to you about the civics test, but
Yep.
so I've heard it could be 10 questions, and I've heard 100, which tells me it's probably going to be neither. But have you heard anything like? I mean, you said I've heard, but I just haven't heard on length.
Yeah, so I've heard that. So what they do for for citizenship is there's a bank of 100 questions, and you get 10, and I think you have to get 6 out of 10 right or something like that. But I mean, you can find those questions online. They're pretty easy to find, and we will. 7th grade, we have an immigration unit, so then we learn about pathways to citizenship, and so I will bring that up, and we'll go through a couple of them. Some of them are as easy as when is the United States' Independence Day, or what day is Christmas on, like that kind of stuff. But then other ones are 3 branches of government and those kind of things, and who's in charge of making laws, and what's the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution. So I'm guessing it'll be similar to that. But yeah, I've heard those kind of things. So, and I think I don't know if there's going to be a limit on how many times you can take it, or you might just keep on taking it till you pass it. I don't know. But so, any other questions? Well, so again, any of you are welcome in my classroom or to attend a practice at any time. You're welcome to come in, or if you have any additional questions. I love teaching. I love coaching. So I love talking about teaching. I love talking about coaching and things like that. I was surprised with a student teacher 2 days before Christmas, but that's been really fun. Just the conversations we've been able to have, and the questions he's asked, and it helps reevaluate what I do as a teacher. And so I think that's always really good. I think you definitely need to have a purpose on everything that you do. And so when you have somebody who's watching you and asking you, why are you doing this, and why are you doing this, and why are you doing this, to be able to have an answer for that. And so I think that's really good. So that's been awesome. So any other questions? Yes,
Is
sir.
there a iReady system for social studies that
Nope.
we just don't use? There's not one out there at all?
I don't even think there is one, because it's not tested or anything like that. So
Yeah, the state doesn't require that 3 times a year testing like they do for math and English. There are online applications like iExcel that offer some iReady type questions and systems that some schools use, but nothing, required to report to the school.
And I could find like geography quizzes
Yeah.
on the internet,
Yep, things like
stuff
that
like
are
that.
available.
What are the kids always playing? GeoGuessr.
Yeah.
So that has some with geography and stuff like that. But it's not even on ISAPs. Like when we took Iowa Test of Basic Skills, there was a social studies section. They don't even have that anymore either. So, and I don't even know if like maps are on the other section, because the science isn't even in every year one now. So like graphs and stuff like that are only tested a couple times. It's mainly
Has it changed since you've been here? Like when you pulled it out of the testing?
I don't know since I've been teaching if they ever did test social studies. I honestly cannot remember. I remember doing it as a student myself, doing the social studies section on Iowa Test of Basic Skills.
I'd say when you first started, my guess would be I did, but
Okay.
probably not long after.
Sure.
We had some studies on it when we were here.
Well, thank you very much for all your work and effort. I love SO. Hopefully, people who hear me talk about it or watch me teach or whatever, I think this is a great place. I know that no place in the world is perfect, but we just try to do our best, and I think this is a great place. So thank you for your work in making something that I love great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yep, thank you.
That's right.
Thanks for
All right, 2-minute board policy and finance moment.
So, kind of going over this real quickly here. I'll start with trivia. Do we have to have an initial public hearing like we did tonight on the school calendar? And why are some of the things on it so restrictive in terms of the school calendar? So is that just because we have a history of doing that at Sibley Ocheyedan? Or is that because it's required? Does anyone know?
It's required.
It's required.
Yeah, it is. And most probably calendar policies are pretty similar, but it just says on here, and it goes through without reading it verbatim, talking about the minimum of days versus hours, 180 hours. Each year, the minimum calendar could include up to 5 days or 30 hours of instruction over the internet. Okay. The next paragraphs start no sooner than August 23. That's state law, so that's why we do that. It's not just Sibley Ocheyedan. We could change that, and then we would get a notice and be told not to do that. The board, here's the one, the board in its discretion may excuse graduating seniors for up to 5 days or 30 hours of instruction. So that's why typically our calendar, right, the seniors are done 5 days early. And then it talks about they can also excuse them from makeup days due to inclement weather. So you can't put on your calendar to excuse them from 23 days to start. I'm just making up, right? Just 5, but you could excuse them if the board so chooses, if like we had inclement weather. I'm not trying to jinx us, just trying to point that out. And so forth. So that is policy. That's why we had the hearing, and then we'll talk about that later tonight, the calendar. And then true or false, since we're talking about PEPL and other things, local boards have control, and if schools want to spend more money than they budgeted, the board can approve raising the rate just to generate more funds. That, yeah. No, false, yeah. There's only certain parts, and we'll be talking about that over the next 2 months with our budget hearings and things, that a school board has control over. The core mission, the general fund, really it's formula driven, and there's not a lot of choice we have in that. We're given the revenue part, it's through a formula, and then we design the expense part from there, which we'll talk about in our budget hearings. I'm not going through that tonight, but just as we think that, there's only certain parts of actually the funds that we receive and that are budgeted that we have control over. Alrighty.
All right, Iowa County health rankings on poverty and children eligible for free or reduced lunch.
So I put this on here. Last year we had some different metrics and they didn't have the same ones on here, but I thought it was good information, and I put a link to the website where it came from, and you can pick your year. So yes, we're in 2026, so the data's from 2025, if that makes sense, right? But I just made a kind of a little presentation graphic, and it links to that. And this shows a bunch of metrics. So I did our 4-county area. It talks about, according to the data they've collected through the public health, whether the percent of residents with some college, high school completion, the unemployment rate, The income equality, that's a formula. The easiest way to explain that is the difference, the multiplied difference in the average income of your top earners, how many times greater it is than your lowest level earners. Children in poverty, what percent of children identified in poverty according to their metrics, deaths and so forth. And there's other things that you can see from here. And I did this for the 4 counties, so Osceola, Lyon, Sioux, and O'Brien. So what I wanted to point you to, and I can answer other questions, but really what I wanted to get at is just the poverty rate in the 4 counties and then those eligible for free and reduced. So you can see the children in poverty, and it's how they define that on the federal tax forms and for those type of purposes. But we have 16% of our children in our county that are identified as living in poverty. Lyon has 9, Sioux has 6, O'Brien's at 11%. And then if you look at those that are eligible for free or reduced lunch, we have 50% that are eligible in our county versus 29 in Lyon County, 40% in Sioux, and 43% in O'Brien. And not stating anything more than what the facts show, but just stating just something that obviously dealing with our population and the economic factors that are in our county are just different than others are seeing, and some of the ways that affects what we do here at school on a daily basis.
It's one interesting if it correlates back to the high school completion. Right? I mean, we're highest kids in poverty and we're also the lowest in high school completion.
I can't speak directly for us, but there is totally a link between the two if you look at the research.
When I was looking through it, it's like, what?
Now, is our graduation rate 86%? No, that's not what it's saying. It's saying the percentage of adults in the county that have graduated. So some could have moved from somewhere else, right? Yeah. Right.
All right, any other questions? All right, mid-year financial update.
So one of the tasks or duties I have is to guys keep you updated on where we're at. So I'm going to just give a little, now that we're past December 31, kind of the halfway point of the fiscal year, and so forth. So I've seen this done in a couple different ways. I've kept it the same, not that it couldn't be improved, but if you go back historically, what's been presented to the board, there's the same documents presented, and I think there's some value and some knowledge when you look at the same thing year after year if you go back. And so I've kept it at that. This DCPP, that's the district cost per pupil. Sometimes you can call it state cost. We had at one point where our district cost is higher. We do not anymore, but that's what that is. So that's for that year, how much we were getting for general fund per pupil, just kind of as a point of reference so you can see what that is as that goes across here and so forth. Why it says estimated FY25, this should be final now, but even through the end of the last calendar year, November, December, it's not uncommon for sometimes the state to make some adjustments on what's called our certified annual report. So what I want to first do is if you go in FY25, and if you go down here, and I put it in blue, our unspent budget at the end of the year, if you remember, you're like, that doesn't look familiar because Stan said something about us being in the whole $8,000, and I did in November. Shortly after that meeting, there was an adjustment. We'll just say an adjustment from the state is the easiest way to do that. That affected multiple schools. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. The state just did an adjustment with some funds. So we actually ended up last year, our unspent balance went up $11,451, which is good, right? Slightly to the positive. So I just wanted to point that out. I didn't say that at the November meeting. So if you look where we're at right now, we're saying at the end of this fiscal year, because we're in FY26, when you end mid-year, that's always confusing, June 30, but we're predicting our unspent budget to go down $59,000, okay? And there's other numbers in there. I won't go through that specifically, but if you kind of remember that. Well, to give you some context with that, this is going back 7-8 fiscal years. And what I want to point you out is just if you look at what our estimate was and then what we actually finished the year at. So I'm saying in FY26, let me blow this up a little bit. there's that 59,000. So at the midpoint of this year in FY26, we're gonna say our UAB's gonna go down 59,000, right? Okay, to give some context, last year at this point, our prediction on this same thing was about gonna be 380,000 down. And you can look and see this, and then I compared that to where we finished at the end of the year. So go 2 years ago, we were gonna be, our mid-year prediction was gonna be down 670,000 on our UAB. We ended up down 270,000. 3 years ago, we were gonna be down 420,000. We ended up down just 7,000, basically broke even. So my point with all this is enough data going back the last 3 or 4 years, about, you could say pretty consistently that 350,000 or so, we've finished better than what we predicted mid-year. Not a guarantee, but we finished better. So my hope is, and we don't have any reason to believe this not to be true, that really by the end of this fiscal year, we'll actually be in the positive for our UAB for this fiscal year as well, and not more than just breaking even like we have in 2 of the last 3 years. Could be higher than that. I don't want to make any prediction, but it could be 100 to 200 grand in the positive. So that's good for our current fiscal year and for us moving forward. So really that's what I wanted to point it out. Remember, it's a projection, things can change, but where we're sitting at right now is looking actually overall pretty good. There's a lot of other information and data on there, and I'm not trying to confuse everyone, just present it. So any questions with any of that I can answer?
Like in any of these years, Stan, would the biggest driver be just the changes that the state made from what your estimate was to what it?
So going back some of these years, if you look at FY 18, 19, 20, one of the factors that's coming in there that isn't in play anymore when you look at the change is federal dollars, COVID money.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
You can kind of see that dropping off, right?
Yep.
And so, I mean, we're still doing better, but that's looking through, we think that's the biggest change FY, not that it started then, but some of the times we get money and then it's posted back to a prior fiscal year, right? So when you're looking through some of these things, you can definitely see the impact of the federal COVID dollars, without a doubt.
Makes sense.
I think that's what was driving some of the change in those years.
Isn't one always the special ed too that seems to get trued up at?
Correct. And you don't know how you finish special ed for sure usually until like our year will end June 30, but we don't have usually the final numbers until August or September somewhere. Is that what you said?
September.
Yeah.
Report is due then.
Yeah, when the certified annual report, the CAR report is due. And then what that does is when you overspend in special ed, you can get that authority back. And so that has an impact on your dollars too, because it doesn't come with dollars, but you get the authority back. So you can go from looking like you're going to overspend a lot, and if a lot of it's special ed dollars, that authority comes back to you.
Fair enough.
All right, any other questions on that? All right, moving on to new business.
All right, the middle school ERV bids. You want to get, it's just 2 sheets a person. So we've been talking, this should sound familiar, whether you know what an ERV is or not, but we've been talking about replacing those. We're using EDA to do that. So the actual bids were due this past Friday at 11 a.m. And in talking with John from EDA, he was very pleased. We had, 8 vendors overall, companies that provided a bid, which was probably higher than expected. He said it's probably a sign of just kind of what's going on in the economy right now. Maybe 2-3 years ago, we'd have been lucky to get 1 or 2 because they're all busy. So it means they're looking for work, and that's good for us locally right now. So it's listed in the letter right there who came, the different vendors, and what their bid was for that portion of the project. And then the next page is really showing the same information, but just a little bit better tabulation of it. The bid tab sheet is what it's called. We just put it together like this, just more consumable. So the short answer of this, the recommendation from EDA, what we would recommend tonight is the low bid that they've worked with before and they're familiar, is from Visser Brothers Plumbing and Heating. That was the low bid at $262,600. And you can kind of see the range of the bids right in there.
This EDA just runs the bidding process, or they were?
So they're an engineer design firm. One of their core business focuses is working with schools. So they were part of the design team. SiteLogic ran it, but they did some of the engineering work for like the fire alarm project and the HVAC parts of our building. So that's what they do, and then they can run through do this for us, right? Which we approved last fall. Run through the bids, put them into the system, get it out to the different vendors. They have all the contacts and things to do that.
Gotcha.
Other, questions that I can answer on this?
Does this EDA has worked with this Visser Brothers?
They have.
Where are they from?
Where are they?
Orange City, I
Orange
believe,
City. It
right?
sounds like an
Oh,
Orange
okay.
City name.
Yeah.
Yep. It's Orange City. Let's say Sioux Center, but
Yeah.
it's Orange City, and he had mentioned a project or two, right? Did he tell you that he had worked with him on, or he's aware they worked on?
Something in Spencer
Yep.
this past year.
Is that the closest local one? Is probably them out of Orange City.
They were most of them are in the area.
In the northwest Iowa area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you mean that?
Just I want to make sure
Bid
we're
in
not
general.
overlooking somebody in Osceola County or. that-
Yeah, it went out on their bid plans, anyone who could bid. There were more interested parties.
Okay.
And then at the end, it's coming back who wants to put a number together.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And we need to vote on this then.
Yes. So what we would do then is we would approve someone would make a recommendation. I didn't put on here because when we put this and published it, we didn't have all the information, obviously. So the recommendation would be to accept the bid from Visser Brothers Plumbing and Heating for $262,600. We'd approve that tonight, and then I'll let John know tomorrow, and then they move forward. So then the vendor can officially order the equipment and move forward on their things and line things up, and then the work would start after we complete school this spring.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for middle school ERV bids with the Visser Brothers at $262,600 as provided by the EDA.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the bid of the middle school ERV by Visser Brothers. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Consider approval of the 2026-27 district calendar.
So kind of funny that we're thinking about this already, but it's around the corner, right? So this is the calendar. Typically, for those that are new, how this works with the association, we have a calendar committee. We try to get at least one rep from the elementary, middle school, and high school buildings, and then we go over and talk about a few things. There's a few different options we go through. They get some feedback and come back, and then some of the times we're able to accommodate the feedback, and sometimes we can't because of what I just pointed out with board policy and different things of that sometimes people just aren't aware of, right? So this is pretty typical to the calendar we've done in the past. We would start on the 24th because this year, August 23 is on a Sunday. Really the thing that I would point out that's different based on some feedback between the different buildings, trying to break up the spring a little bit more so you don't have all those long weeks together in an extended week. So we haven't done this in the past, but typically one of our paid holidays for teaching staff is President's Day, which this next year, not this year, this next year would be the 15th. So also having school off on the 16th. And then where Easter falls, you can kind of see if the quarter ends on the 12th, parent-teacher conferences, early and late for the middle school and high school, but we do that comp day on the 19th, so that'd be a 4-day week. And then next year, not this year, next year, Easter falls early, and so that's when Easter would be right in there. Other than that, pretty similar to what we've done in the past. There's only so many levers you can pull. But with our contracted days and when we're starting and no changes to really the overall PD schedule, still getting out at 2 p.m. This is 1.5 early, but we do our 2 p.m. 1:50 at the elementary dismissal. That would not change. So.
How many years have they been doing the personal development?
Early out on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably 10.
Has it been 10?
Well, it was before I got here.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure when they.
I remember if they
Just
did it
my guess.
when
They've
I was
adjusted the
in high
times
school. I
over the
remember if they
years.
did.
Like it used to be a 2:30, and just with the number of things getting done, we just needed more PD time. So that's third year, maybe we're at 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
But when did that start? I don't know.
Kinja thought maybe 10 years.
14, 15, it was just once,
Yeah.
like once a month.
Yeah, I'd have to put.
So I think let me look.
So is there a way to do like PE, like those days, like instead of breaking it up on 4 early out Wednesdays, doing one whole day a month and doing?
You're getting at the philosophical debate. We've talked through that as well as with some other schools. Are you better doing one day versus early outs? I think some of it's in the eye of the beholder in terms of what some people prefer. You know what I mean? Personal preference, because I've talked to people that do full days out, and I've had them tell me they like it and they don't like it. People on 1 day a week like it and don't. You know what I mean? I can't say there's a consistent.
Okay. I didn't know if we could do it or not. Like,
Yes, we could. I would say the majority do either maybe if they get out twice a month, but like earlier than we do. There's some schools that'll do that, so maybe getting out at 11:30. You know what I mean? So you're getting out that much earlier, twice a month. I would say you don't see as much of the just once a month anymore. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying you don't see it as much anymore. I think maybe just for the consistency and being able to do things more often, I think is a little bit, we meet this week and then we got a chance to meet next week versus waiting a whole month timing.
That's
just me speaking.
I just didn't know, like, because I know you guys pick certain topics and everything, and you
Right.
give yourselves, 2 hours. Would it be more beneficial giving 8 hours for that professional development versus limiting it 2 hours, and then you have to recap it, do it, maybe hit it again the next week? Would it be easier to hit professional development, have a full 8 hours assigned to it so you could get through? Like, I'm not a teacher, I'm just asking.
Well, financially too, also, like say you have 1 day a month that you do professional development, you wouldn't have, say, cooks here, bus drivers, you'd be saving on expenses that way. I don't know, if that was.
You
an
could,
issue, too.
but we'd also, with that, you'd have to look into how we word. We'd have to change some of our wording with contracts with teaching
Teachers.
staff, right? Because they're here 190 days, and you can see
Right.
this is here. So if we would do you know what I mean? There's other. Yeah, you're not wrong. I agree
No,
with
I
what
was
you're
just
saying.
thinking, saving money, since that's
Right.
always an issue in every school, like 1 whole day, then you at least don't have to pay those people that day that they're here.
But you still have to have the number of days for students too.
Right, and
Right.
and contact hours.
But I'm just saying, every Wednesday you're out so many hours, that would add up to 1 day a month, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's
It
what,
still counts as a
yeah,
contact
that's
day.
what I meant.
Yep.
Right, but if
You
we met
wouldn't.
all day with staff, it doesn't count as a student
Contact.
contact
Okay.
day. Is what?
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't explain that very well.
Okay, no, I get it now.
It started in 15, 16.
Some are moving. I'm not suggesting this. I'm just saying. Some are moving. They are doing more full days, but then they have less student contact days. That is becoming a thing. Some districts, not all over, but so maybe they'll do So we have, as an example, we have 5 full days, right? Okay? They maybe have, I'll just throw out a number, they'll meet 10 full days or 15 full days, but we're meeting with students for 180, they'll only meet with students like 170 days. I'm not saying right or wrong, there's not a lot, but that is kind of, to answer what you're getting at, then
Yeah,
you gotta
and I know
give something
some
back,
different
right?
places
Yep.
have done that. That's why I threw that out there.
Yep.
Some other friends, family, students have said that. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's a thing. I don't know.
We're on the higher end for
Student
contact
contact
days and
days,
for
right.
hours.
Right.
Yep.
All questions we've debated a lot. I mean, yeah, I mean, we've,
Those same conversations happen
Yeah.
every year in the calendar committee meeting. It's always discussed.
yeah,
with
it is
staff.
brought up, right.
And staff is part of that. Yep. Obviously, if they were wanting to see something different, they'd bring it up in that meeting.
Yeah, most of the time they don't have, they'll have some strong opinions on PD maybe, but most of the time it's just kind of when we start, when you're finishing before, that's probably the
The bigger part.
the bigger pieces you get back from staff. I'm not
Yep.
saying it's the most important, but that's probably what you get back. And some of the times they'll want to get out earlier for Christmas, but when they talk to their building reps and you explain, we did it this, you know, they don't always know the back end of, okay, we get out early for Christmas, we got to make that day up, and the way the calendar fits after Christmas now, we got to go one day after. Oh, I didn't realize that, then I don't want it, right? You know what I mean? Because you have to go one day after Memorial Day. I was about to say Labor Day, but Memorial Day now, right? You know,
Is there a reason why we're at the higher end for contact days and hours? If other schools are going to less?
contact days, if they're not doing extra PD days, then I would say it's pretty similar. Hours, it would just be, kind of depends on how you count your start and ending day. You have to go by your shortest building, so that's where some of that comes in. I don't know that we're the highest, but we are on the higher side. That's just something we've done. That's why sometimes you have to know what other schools do. When we moved, so we used to even have more contact hours, right? This is, I think, our 3rd year that we're doing the 2 o'clock dismissal. Before we were at 2:30, and we had some staff that thought we were taking too many contact hours. Probably some of you were contacted by them, but staff thought we had too many contact hours taken away. But when you look at the other schools, that's not necessarily true. We still have just as many student contact hours as majority of them. Would that be a fair way to say that?
Yeah, I think we've gotten feedback on both sides of that we don't have enough contact hours, or that we're on the higher end. I think, yeah, the philosophy just being, the more time you have kids in class, the more growth you see academically and opportunities for them. But yeah, we have had input on both sides of that really since I've been here.
And what did you say the reason that the day after President's Day they wanted, or why was that
To break up the spring more.
Yes.
Staff,
Oh, okay.
Give them more time
3-day
off.
weekend.
Yes, like we
Yeah,
come back
4th
on the
and then
4th, and then it's a 4-day week that first week in January, but that's kind of the ongoing comment always is, by the end of February, once you return, it seems like kids are inside more often because of cold weather, right? And you have so many full weeks in a row. Just talking about breaking that up a little more or chance. So that was, I did not put that on there initially, but that was based on some feedback as a suggestion because we were able to do it with how the days fell this year on the calendar.
Or of a spring break type.
Mm-hmm. And the President's Day is typically when the first round of boys district basketball is. And we know that, I mean, you get to the spring and any day you take off, there could be something technically scheduled there. There's just not. It's just a busy time of year. Just is.
Okay. Any other questions on the calendar at all?
In motion.
Yeah, if we wanna, I guess, move forward with as is.
Make a motion to approve the 26-27 school calendar as presented.
1 second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the 26-27 district calendar as presented. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed. Computer froze up. Consider approval of FY26 amended budget documents and authorization to file with Department of Management.
So I brought up, no, that's not coming up. I brought up the attachment here for the amended budget. And then we would have to approve that tonight, and then we would file that with the Department of Management. There, it's sunk. So it's in the other, overall, the big broad categories that we have, the other expenditures, to have increasing the budget by that amount from 3.8, I'm rounding here, million to 5.3 million. The main reason was, like we discussed before, the bond debt repayment and the project expenditures. On our budget last year, it doesn't change our tax rate, it doesn't change what we're paying, but pulling from the debt schedule for the bond repayment, we didn't put that on the initial budget, just by year. That'd be the easiest way to explain that, Kendra. So,
That was only part of it, and then the other was just the.
oh yeah, the project expenditures,
for
but yeah,
project.
that was a portion of it. So that's what we're approving tonight, or we're asking you to approve.
All right, any questions on that?
Make a motion to amend the budget for the fiscal year 26 as presented.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the fiscal year 26 amended budget as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Consider continuation of board-approved couple.
Annually, as we start this budget process, the board needs to approve the board-approved portion of the fiscal plant and equipment levy. That's the 33 cents. Since we've been having a lot of discussions on that, we have to approve that annually. And then we have to upload the minutes to the Department of Management, and that allows us to pull that into the budget. So we, for as long as I've been here at least, we've typically done that in January. That's all I really have to,
All right.
unless you got any questions.
Any questions on that? Would there be a motion to move forward with the board-approved couple?
I'll make a motion to continue having the board-approved couple.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to continue the board-approved couple. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Consider approval of HVAC service plan renewal.
So Climate System does services our HVAC. They'll come to service things if we have issues or breakdowns, but they also replace our filters and other maintenance type issues like that. I've presented the last few years, but it was already on the 3-year rotation here. So actually, this is the first year, so we do need to approve the new plan. It's recommended to approve this for the 26-27 school year as described in the agreement for $16,615 for the year. And it does lay that out for over the 3 years, the proposal, right there on that page. So it'd be a 3-year proposal.
Do they do the ERV ones then too? And is that part of their?
They well moving forward. We've had the discussions on them. There's some new features they were telling us last week. EDA did with the new ERVs that he said the technology's improved. They have some lint screens on them and some areas to vacuum out. So he goes, yeah, I wouldn't know why you wouldn't want to bring this up with them once they're in place to have them do that. So we would have them do
So
that as
that's
well.
part of this bid as well then?
Maintaining it should be, yes.
Okay. And then just so the rest of the board knows, this gets paid out of,
This one's just general fund.
it is general fund, okay. And I think they've done a pretty good job, haven't they? Well,
Yeah,
I mean, we've had
yeah, I
them-
don't have a lot of
I guess it's been on the
complaints, and
climate ever since.
there's only so many that do this, and yeah, they're the ones that worked with some of the controls, like when we did the high school HVAC, and they're fairly responsive if we have an issue to come from Sioux Falls to service things. So. In addition to their normal maintenance, but that's part of it, covering some of the service calls.
All right, any other questions?
Make a motion to approve the HVAC service renewal plan.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the HVAC service from Climate Systems as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Consider approval of new contracts.
The only one, Elena, and you can read her resignation from being junior high softball coach, but then she would also like to be able to, moving forward, depending on her schedule, volunteer to help with the high school and the middle school. So that's the only thing to approve
Paid
right
to a
now.
Volunteer coach.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
all right.
I'll make a motion to approve Lena Wingate's new contract or work agreement.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the new contract moving from a paid to a volunteer softball coach. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Consider approval of purchase of van.
So I think I'd been updating you guys about this with some of the changes. It is under my spending threshold, but we thought it'd be good to put on here. The 2025 Chrysler Pacifica from Papic Motors. So this will go and be one of the two we use for the preschool routes now, primarily. There'll be other uses, but that's the primary use. And then the older Chrysler that we have in that route it can be a backup for the preschool routes if needed, and then replace the vehicle that was damaged for the kitchen staff. Ask your question again.
What's that?
Where does the funding come from?
Yeah, where did the funding came from where on?
Yes, good question, Jamie.
Where did you think?
Whoops, I just closed that. We would pay for we will pay for the vehicle out of Pepple, this one.
Did we get any insurance money to go towards this? I know it was an old van.
Yes,
It
yeah,
was
That's
about
the problem when that
1,500,
happens.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say 1,300, or what did you say? What was
It
it?
was under 1,500
Yeah.
out there somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even remember the year. It was an older vehicle, so there wasn't a lot of value left in it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can never replace those for what they.
No, I mean, yeah, just like in your life when you have older vehicles. And we weren't going to replace it till we had to. There wasn't a reason to, but that's the way it goes.
All right. There'll be a motion to.
I'll motion to approve the purchase of the van.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of the van from Papic Motors. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Consider approval of L&L Builders Pay Application Number 6 for the Middle School, High School Project 2025.
Yep, you can see the amount needed, just paying for some outstanding work that they had finished up.
A motion for the approval of L&L Builders pay application number 6 for the middle school, high school project for 2025.
Second.
And it's been moved and seconded to approve the L&L Builders Pay Application Number 6. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Consider approval of L&L Builders Pay Application Number 8, Elementary Project 2025.
Same thing, except this is on the elementary project because they code it twice over. So that's why there's two separate ones, and it's just for $633 and change.
Is this our last payment for the elementary, or?
For them for this, yes.
No, there's still the retainer.
But is that with them?
L&L.
In L&L? Okay. Never mind, I stand corrected.
So it's just what they're trying to get finished up, they're like the retained funds that we held back for.
Correct.
Yeah. okay.
Yes. I thought it was
That'll be
another
coming
vendor.
back, though.
Correct.
Yep.
All right.
Make a motion to approve the L&L Builders Pay Application Number 8 for the elementary project 2025.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the L&L Builders Pay Application Number 8, Elementary Project 2025. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Additional items.
So our next board meeting, February 17. Just a reminder of the date change on that we had set last month, I believe. March 16 and April 20 are the normal dates that they're scheduled on, for lack of a better word. I don't know yet, but we'll communicate with you when we have to set the date for the first budget hearing. You have to have, for those that are new, 2 budget hearings. And have to have the appropriate notice in the papers ahead of time and so forth. They can't be before March 20th. That's the earliest, the first one. March 20th this year is a Friday, so I'm pretty sure we're not going to do it on March 20th. Maybe that following week, and then we have typically in the past done the second one, when they went to this process at our normal board meeting in April, which allows us to complete the process, and you have to turn it in by April 30. So I don't know the date for the first one. We'll have to work through some things to figure that out. Kendra and I will, and then we'll let you know. And then the work session on February 25th, right here at 5:30.
Hey Stan, have you thought about having some open meetings for Pebble? One in Ocheaton and one in Sibley? Have you?
We have talked through that, yes. So don't know the full dates and times yet, but
Okay.
yes, absolutely have. Great question.
You know, if you need any help getting the town hall or whatever, let me know. And Ocheaton.
So I was thinking Arlen, but it's not Arlen.
It's not Arlen anymore.
Jules. Jules.
So any other talking points from the meeting?
Yeah, talking points.
Yeah, great question. I always like hearing our staff present. I think we have a great staff overall. And some of the time people overlook that, but I think Ryan is just an example of that, and the passion that so many of our staff that we get to see every day that the public doesn't get to see, I think, behind the scenes. And so I appreciated Mr. Wiersma's presentation.
I think we all should go into his classroom. He invited us.
Let's go to the basketball the same day.
The discussions in there are great, and this year has been, just a lot of social
Stuff in the news.
studies and things in the news that apply very closely to what they learn about. So it's been fun to pop in there.
Is it typical that somebody presents at every meeting? Some staff member?
For the most part, during the school year, we try to get all the ones, the curriculum. That's a good question. You guys probably don't know this. The curriculum lead. So someone from math, social studies. We have 2 ELA ones. Sometimes they've gone together, sometimes not. Matt Vermeer did last month.
Yep.
So for the CTE, and he explained that fine arts. And then typically at some point during the year, the instructional coaches present as well, kind of in their ball field, and that usually takes us through the school year months. It doesn't
Special
happen
ed
over.
too,
Oh yeah, special ed. I knew I was forgetting some areas there. Yep.
Perfect.
So we try to have one of them go each month
Yep.
for the school year months.
Yeah, no,
No.
that's good.
I guess one other thing is just that Iowa County health rankings, what our dynamics are in our school district, and I guess I know they shared that last year for the first time I seen it. And,
Yep.
You know, kind of.
Joe Hydrator had shared it with me. Yep.
Yeah, he did again, it looked like, so, yeah, appreciate that. And then I guess this, our early retirements, I guess there's a lot of years of service leaving, Salil Cheaton, and thank them for that, so.
Yes, very much so.
All right, anything else?
I don't have anything else.
All right, would there be a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, so moved in second to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We're adjourned.
I know. I gotta walk all the way back to the elementary school.
Way over by the.
Well, it was
About as packed as it gets. Luckily,
I know, I